Hello and welcome to the Rabyd Atheist. I'm Ed Rabyd, a former pastor turned atheist, now a compassionate anti-theist. Welcome to my channel. Like and share this video. Join the Rabyd Nation, a nation of people dedicated to normalizing atheism and deconversion by hitting the subscribe button. And if you want to support the channel in a more tangible way, hit the join button and your membership options that lead to citizenship in the Rabyd Nation will be presented to you. Today I want to continue on in my series of deconstructing spiritual disciplines. This is actually the last discipline that Richard Foster in his book Celebration of Discipline lists. And, I've been going through these disciplines and basically from a deconversion point of view, talking about how we deconstruct from them and how we reconstruct our lives afterwards, using kind of the analogy of a house, moving from one house to another. What can we destroy in the old house, leave behind? And then what do we want to move? Is there anything good from our religion that we can still move to our new house and still build with and go forward with? Mostly because we've been discussing how to get rid of the religious aspects of what we used to have and the belief system and all that stuff, the indoctrination, and then still going forward with our lives with things that still, work and still have some truth value. So today we're getting to the last discipline he talks about, which is celebration. So can an atheist benefit from celebration? I'm going to say offhand, yeah, probably yes, but we're going to have to do a few things. But what is celebration in the context of what we used to believe? I think it had a couple of aspects of celebration. There's sort of a capstone element to celebration. It's enjoying the results of your labor. You've done all this other disciplines, fasting, prayer, all the other things, and now you're enjoying some of the fruits, some of the benefits of that. Your walk with God is closer, or at least seems closer. Your relationships with people around you have improved. As a person, you're being more disciplined. You're getting things done. If there's certain like service and study aspects to your walk with God at the time, you feel like you're accomplishing something. And so you celebrate the achievement and the joy of accomplishing something, both as an individual and together. Okay, so that has that celebratory aspect. But there's also the idea in celebration of celebrating events that marks the church's relationship to our understanding of God, such as Christmas and Easter and various events that take place, meeting together every Sunday and celebrating your salvation and all the other stuff. Also has a way of, this is, what celebration is about. Holidays come up here, traditions in the church that surround them and surround just being a Christian and celebrating that, coming every Sunday morning and worshiping together is a celebratory event for many people. So there's this aspect of celebration that comes into it of, hey, we made it another Sunday, we've accomplished this, it's another Christmas, it's another Easter, it's, whatever. How did that tap into us? I don't think you get more tribal in some ways than celebration, okay? There's nothing more, other than me, who's autistic, who doesn't like a good party, right? Or who doesn't like celebrating milestones, or who, how does that not tap into, if I'm successful at disciplining myself and getting to a certain point where I'm like, hey, yeah, man, I'm getting some results, and then celebrating that idea, how does that not reinforce us to continue to do it? And celebration in the church context used to solidify our connection to the idea that being a religious person makes us more successful as a person, makes us more successful as a human being, and everybody acknowledging that together. Okay, it's a corporate discipline, according to Foster, and he's right about that, because it's really hard to celebrate by yourself. Now you can. I celebrate milestones without anybody knowing, but it's not as significant as when you do it with the tribe. It's not as significant when the tribe celebrates with you and say, yeah, you did a good job. Pat you on the back, not the chest, but that aspect of drawing you in and keeping you there because you have a group of people to celebrate, events of your life with, celebrate, certain milestones. I've been saved for X number of years and filled with the Spirit for X number of years. And people go, yeah, great job there, brother. And it's this rah-rah, this you know, dancing around the fire, banging the drums, tribalism, that we're doing something good together. Whether we're actually doing something good or not really is a questionable thing. But I get the psychology of how celebration taps into this need to belong and to celebrate achievement and to celebrate, the passing of another year, or we have these events that we believe in. We celebrate these events at different times of the year, and the whole cyclical calendar thing of it, and going forward. And there's this ritualized celebration of milestones, this ritualized celebration of who we are as believers at the time, that really tapped into that inherent tribal nature that we all have. Even those of us that are autistic like myself have a tribal nature, just don't like to admit it. That's a joke, by the way. So we have this thing where we're being drawn in, and this is what kept us in the church. A lot of us, it's the fellowship, worship, the asking for guidance, the confessing the sins, the worship of God, that all culminates in this celebration of who we are as Christians, who we are as believers in something. Every religion seems to have some sort of celebratory event for this reason. And that's what kept us in. So what can we take away from this? I struggled with this part, I'll be honest. As I deconstruct from it, I think the one thing that's obvious to get rid of is the whole God religious aspects of celebration. There's plenty of things to celebrate. I still celebrate my personal achievements, although I don't have as many people to celebrate with. But, I still have those moments of, hey, yeah, man, I reached some of my goals. This is great. And I guess I've learned to deconstruct from the idea that I need somebody else to pat me on the back for my successes all the time, that I can be successful and enjoy just success in and of itself without having somebody to celebrate it with me. Although having celebrations is nice, it doesn't tap into that inherent tribal nature. And tribalism has a lot of problems attached to it, to speak mildly, because it blinds you to the reality of what's going on and often causes us to look at other people groups as lesser. And a lot of the celebratory events in Christianity for me became also events where I was looking down at well, isn't it sad that other people don't believe like us and can't have a good time like this? And it's interesting, like Christianity always has to take holidays they find objectionable and kind of, repackage them. I remember like Halloween, come dressed as your favorite biblical character. We'll still have, cookies and cake and candy for you, but you don't have to go out and participate in this pagan holiday and all that crap, even though Halloween is not what it originally was a long time ago. These kind of celebratory things of creating these artificial celebrations of also making ourselves different tribally. I think all that can be dumped, okay, is what I'm saying. Is you don't have to have this condescending attitude about the celebrations. And I think what needs to switch in a reconstructive aspect of celebration is trying to celebrate a bigger and bigger group. Just celebrating as being a human being with other human beings would be the ultimate goal, okay? That, there's events that shape all of humanity, okay? And every one of us has those events in our own personal life that shape our humanity. Being successful, going forward, we find these moments where we don't need the religious aspect of this celebratory stuff, and we can just focus on being human and being a human being. And to me, that's where celebration is. I have very simple goals, like even just celebrating a subscriber milestone on my channel is a celebratory event. It doesn't have to be a big deal. I can just mention it and say, hey, yeah, do good, good job, nation, and all that stuff. But none of that requires me looking down on other people that aren't successful. I don't consider myself in competition with the other atheist YouTubers out there, for instance, because I'm not trying to create the tribe of the Rabyd Nation. I'm trying to create a movement of the Rabyd Nation that hopefully affects the whole tribe of humanity. To me, that's the difference in the mentality of pulling away from the idea that I have to celebrate with just the people that are my, small and close-knit group anymore. I can celebrate everything with everybody. And so, and learning to enjoy the celebratory moments of other people where in the past I would have looked down on them, okay, for celebrating something that, they take joy in what they should have been ashamed of, is I think what the verse says, that kept us, clouded in Christianity. It's like, well, they're celebrating something that they really shouldn't be celebrating, kind of thing. Well, I try to pull that out of my life a little bit more and say, well, yeah, I can see why they would want to celebrate that, because it's an achievement for them. And so it changes in the sense you got to get rid of the religious God garbage that has no evidence for it. And then you kind of reverse that and say, how do I make the tribe that I'm celebrating with as big as possible? And when you're celebrating personal results stuff, you don't have to gotcha other people, I'm doing better. You don't have to have that prideful arrogance like I'm walking closer with God or something. I don't have that anymore. It's just nice to have an achievement, but you set a goal and you get to it, okay? And I don't know, I think to me there needs to be a little bit more humility in celebration and then a little bit more openness to it. But this is one of the ones I struggle with, of how to reconstruct it. Because I celebrate the pagan holidays now. At Christmas time, I'm not celebrating Christmas, I celebrate Yuletide, okay? The whole, 12 days, where the 12 days of Christmas actually comes from. And I kind of, take a look at the different aspects of Yuletide and, can I celebrate that? Some of those aspects, sure. I can join with my fellow human beings and celebrate the passing of another year and the beginning of a new one. I can, get to things like the 4th of July and celebrate, the independence of my nation. I can get to certain communal events, but don't take them so far as to look down on anybody else because of it, okay? And I still the whole holiday things and everything, still I struggle with a little bit, but it's part of the process. It's part of the deconstruction, reconstruction process, the whole deconversion aspect. Deconversion to me is more of a starting, we have a starting event and then it's a process. But part of the process, you're weaving two threads back and forth, reconstructing your life and deconstructing your old life. You're kind of going back and forth all the time. And in celebration, that seems to be a constant thing more than any other. Because when you leave the church, your whole tribe is lost, okay? And you're trying to build a new tribe almost immediately from then on. And that's just an inherent nature of human beings, to be connected with other human beings. Some of us have this less than others, but even those of us that are introverted and autistic still realize our need to be connected. It's just we have a real hard time doing it. And so it's kind of that aspect of it. So, I'd be interested to hear some of the deconstruction stories where celebratory events and the old things that used to celebrate, you now kind of look like and cringe at, I get it. I remember I had a pastor once that used to, put forward these people in the world didn't succeed with this. Let's celebrate their lack of success, kind of thing. And usually it was like LGBTQ related or something. And nowadays I'd be like cringe at that. It's like you're celebrating the fact that they don't have equality. That seems kind of weird. That we're telling certain groups of people that they're not as equal to us. That's kind of weird, but deconstructing some of that. But I'd be interested in some of your stories about this, because celebration is one of those capstone things. For me as a Stoic who practices different disciplines and tries to get certain routines going, I celebrate the simple fact that the routine leads me to more success. The habits lead me to more success, and so that's a much more simpler thing to celebrate on a daily basis. And so, getting together, and I don't necessarily have to get other people to pat me on the back anymore to celebrate things. And I think that's one of the biggest changes for me in celebration is I don't need the tribe to celebrate as much. I can celebrate just being a good human. And when I do celebrate with the tribe, it's about, our achievements as humans, not necessarily all the rest of it. So I guess I'd be interested to hear some advice even about celebration, because this is one of the ones I do struggle with, and understanding how it affected me so much and getting over it and rebuilding. So But thanks everybody for stopping by. I appreciate everybody. Every like, share, and subscribe is always appreciated. I want to give a special shout out to my members, to my citizens, and my Rabyd citizens. You guys are the ones that make these videos possible, because I don't usually get the likes and subscribes on deconversion issues and videos, because they tend to be a little bit more specifically focused to a specific audience, and not everybody watches them. But it's you members that make this happen. And as always, live your best life. You only get one go around, and there is no afterlife. So you want to make sure you're spending your time, your money, your resources, your relationships on yourself and the people you love and care for, and to make this a better world. And don't spend them on the trappings of religion and faith, because that's a dead end. I speak from experience. And as always, live your best life. And thanks for stopping by. And I'll catch you next time.